Welcome to another daily support episode of the Spirit Mom Life podcast. I'm your host and Spirit Mom to Levi, Schall Adams. These short daily episodes are here to gently walk with you through the real moments of grief and the journey towards reconnecting with your child in spirit. Tune in daily as you learn to walk with your child on this part of your journey together. From the very beginning, after Levi transitioned, I needed to know where he had gone. I knew he must be somewhere. I still felt the connection to him. And as brutal as the separation of death feels, it just didn't feel like he didn't exist anymore. I knew he had gone someplace. And so I began the search. And one of the first people that I contacted was Holly Riley, because I knew she had gone where Levi had gone. I knew she had crossed over. She had had 2 near-death experiences and had written a book about it called Allowing. In one of the near-death experiences, Holly described that she was on the living room floor surrounded by her 2 sons, her mother, and 2 paramedics. And she was above them watching the scene unfold when she became aware of an entity next to her. And she turned to them and said, "They think that's real. We need to go tell them that's not real." And she said that she knew this entity, but she couldn't tell us who it is. Just that she knew them for millennia. And so because of Holly's experiences, I asked her to speak at Levi's memorial because I wanted everyone to have the experience of connection to spirit and healing. And it was such a good decision because for months I had people come up and tell me how much it meant to them, how much it helped them. I knew there would be a lot of people at Levi's memorial, and I didn't want to have person after person sharing the devastation that we all felt. Levi was a light in the world. And as big as he was and as rowdy as he could be, he was also a source for love. He loved people. And I knew that he would want us to feel comforted in the knowledge that life continues and that he's okay. And I knew Holly could do that for us. So right from the beginning, even through the utter devastation, I knew I would find a way to build a relationship with Levi across the realms of our existence. And that first summer, I immersed myself in reading books and watching videos from psychic mediums, people who had had near-death experiences, past life regression experts, and I even interviewed a number of people who had crossed over and come back, and spiritual teachers of different kinds who could talk about afterlife. And I was doing all this searching because I had to find a way to communicate with Levi. Not just receive some messages, but actually communicate with him. I needed to know he lived in spirit and that we were still connected. But it's one thing to believe it's possible, and quite another to have the actual experience, especially in the beginning when you're grieving so desperately. So one day I was talking to Holly within those first few weeks, and she told me, "He's there because you feel him touching your shoulder." And I was shocked that she knew I was feeling that. It validated for me that it was real. It was something I was feeling, but I hadn't shared it with anyone. Shortly after that, I received Levi's first message. I was sitting on the couch, texting with Holly. It was so soon after he had transitioned that my coffee table was full of all the plants and flowers and trinkets and cards and my laptop, my coffee. The table was full. And Levi's cat, Toki, was sound asleep up on the back of the couch. And someone had given me a white stone, and I would hold it for hours and just hold it and rub it with my fingers. And I set that stone down on the edge of the coffee table where there was just a little bit of space left. And I said, "Levi, if you're here, I need you to move this stone." All of a sudden I realized Levi's cat had woken up. She'd climbed down from the back of the couch. She'd reached over with just a paw, knocked the stone to the ground. Then she jumped down and started moving the stone around. And I know this was Levi because this cat had never done anything like this. She wasn't interested in playing. She never knocked things off onto the floor. She just wasn't that kind of cat. I learned that to receive messages from Spirit, we need to open ourselves, to allow ourselves to receive the communication. Our loved ones live in spirit and they have the ability to communicate spiritually with us. And we can access and receive their messages when we tune in. When we expand ourselves beyond just our physical being, we can access the spirit that lives within us to receive the messages our loved ones are sending. Over the years, I've continued to talk with Levi and ask for messages, and he delivers. So as you continue to join me on this podcast, you'll hear about the many messages that he's sent and the communication that we have had. And some of them are just mind-blowing. Some are as loud as Levi was. Some are quiet. But the accumulation of so many messages is beyond what can be attributed to coincidence. So when we tune in and connect to our loved ones on the other side, when we experience the connection to them, it begins a healing process. It softens the grief. It allows for our expansion as human beings and as souls. The experiences of connecting with Levi has created space for healing. You have the ability to connect every bit as much as I do. You can connect with them and create space for your own healing. Open yourself to it. Ask them for messages. Rebuild the relationship with them. Talk to them out loud. Our loved ones live in spirit. They live in their purest form, their happiest state, their most loving state. We love them and they love us, and that's forever. You've been listening to the Spirit Mom Life podcast with Schall Adams. If you'd like more support, you're invited to join us inside the Spirit Mom Life community. Learn more at spiritmomlife.com. Remember, you are not alone, and the journey with your beautiful child continues.